was 18 years now, since about 2000. That's how long I've been in the industry. I do printed products and so forth, and I service a lot of funeral homes in New Jersey, New York, as well as across the country as well too. We ship stuff all over. So what I'm talking about today is utilizing a survey in your business, okay? Utilizing a survey in your business. And part of my experience comes from when I was younger, just as far as some more history. My father was a CPA. So what happened, he worked with several different businesses. So from that experience and just watching what he was involved with, I got to learn basically about business in general and how successful businesses operate, and some pitfalls that some businesses have as well too. So I did watch what he did and I learned from it. As I started my business in 2000, it's definitely helped me, and I've learned a lot of things to help me to grow my business, and we have grown year after year after year. So some of that I want to share with you in regards to utilizing a survey. So that's the subject for today, utilizing a survey, okay? So one of the first things I'm going to start with is something that I've learned about business, that all businesses, now that didn't make the microphone, but all businesses, especially all businesses, they provide something to their customers. One of three things, and the first one I'm going to say is a product. Okay, the second is a service, and the third is a system. So for a business to be successful, they have to provide one of these three key things to their customer base, whether it's a product, a service, or a system. Now let's consider, I'm going to try and keep this as interesting and lively as possible. We're talking about surveys. We're going to get to surveys. But for a product, Apple. Everybody know the company Apple? Okay. So Apple, do they provide a product, a service, or a system? A product. Yeah. You have to have all of them, but there's one key that you have to focus in on. Apple has a product. They have the iPhone, they have the iPad, or they have the whatever iWatch, that people will stay up from the night before, camp out in front of the Apple store, more so before, but they still will do it now, and they will wait online so they can get this new product that Apple offers, okay? So Apple is an example of a company that focuses on the product. A company that focuses on a system is, an example of that is Amazon, okay? Because Amazon has a wonderful system. They don't necessarily, their products, many of the things you buy on Amazon, I use Amazon, I'm Amazon Prime, but many things you buy on Amazon, you really can get it somewhere else. But Amazon has a wonderful system that within 2 days, usually, especially if you're somewhere not in the suburbs, well, in the rural areas, but Amazon has a wonderful system that within 2 days you can actually get the product of what you're looking for. So their product, there's really nothing special about Amazon as far as products. Would you agree with that part? I mean, you can get the same things if you wanted to go to a store, if you looked online somewhere else. But because of Amazon's dynamic system, people come to them, and I'm one of them, and probably many of you in here as well too, because they have a wonderful system that allows people to get whatever they want within 2 days, don't pay extra for shipping or anything like that. So Amazon is, their focus is the system. So remember we talked about a product, which is Apple. So people love Apple because of their product, the phone or the tablets or what have you. The system is Amazon because they have a wonderful system in place. The products aren't anything special. And then the last one is a service. So we said product, service, system. The service one, let's say a business like a doctor's office. So you go to a doctor's office, you don't go there for the product, right? It's not really, you're not going there for particular medication because you can get medication from another doctor's office or what have you. You're not going there for the product. Their system, how many times I've been to a doctor's office and you have to wait for, however long, and then they send you to another doctor's office. So you're not going there necessarily for the system. You're actually going there for the service that they are providing to you. So that's a doctor's office is a good example. Anyone is, like a car repair place is another service-oriented business as well too. So going back to my first statement again, every business, they have to focus on one of these three things in order to be successful. It's going to be product, it's going to be a service, or it's going to be a system. Now, I'm not saying, as he had brought up before, like Apple, yeah, they have a wonderful product. They do have to provide service as well, and they have to have a system that if, calling for support or to get it to you. But their main thing of why we really go to Apple is because of the product. It's not because they have outstanding service. It's not because their system is so great, because it's not that great, because I have to wait for my, I have to wait for my iPhone, stand outside and, wait for the new iPhone. So the system is not all that spectacular, but I go there because of the product. All right, so we have product, service, system. Now let's look, because we definitely have to bring this into the funeral industry. In the funeral industry, let's consider the funeral industry. Out of those three things, a product, service, or system, what is it that people come to the funeral professional for? Service. Wonderful. That is spectacular. You guys all had a great answer. I did. No, and it's not that I was down at a school because I taught similar information at one of the mortuary schools, and they were stuck between, is it a service or is it a product? Because they're thinking caskets, they're thinking the cars, but as Ms. Judkins over there is shaking his head as well too. No, it's the service. It's not the product. You might have caskets, but really from one funeral home to another, you can get the same casket. So it's not going to be the product, and it's more so the service and what service do you provide. So today I said my subject again is utilizing a survey. So now, in order to be able to best identify how well of a service that we are providing to our families, this is where the survey comes into play, okay? You have to be able to successfully gauge how well you are providing service to your families, because your families are the ultimate recipients of what you are doing. And if you're just providing a service that you think is appropriate, that's not enough. That's not enough if you're just providing a service you think is appropriate. I have products in my own business that I think is the greatest thing since sliced bread, honestly. But I haven't convinced certain funeral homes or even families to really love my slice of bread. But so at the end of the day, it's not really benefiting me at all. So no matter how well you may think your service is for your families, what really matters is how do your families think your service is for your families, okay? So this is where you have to do surveys. You have to take a survey to kind of get an understanding of what your families, what they feel about your service. And if you choose that, you're just going to stay in business and do business the way you used to do it, the way you always used to do it, that is not a right answer. To just continue to stay in business, doing it the way you've always done it because, this is the way I did it from years ago, and it's served me well. But the needs from families are continuing to change, and by having a survey is how we can even stay on top of what these families are requesting or what they need to have for what they're looking for from the funeral provider, okay? All right, so I considered one example of a business that kind of just stayed and didn't change with the times. And one great example I considered was Blockbuster, which many of us can we remember from years ago. There was a blue and yellow, I think was colors, what have you. Blockbuster was around almost on every corner or what have you. And you was able to go to the corner, get your video, and then go back home and watch your video. But how many of you have seen Blockbuster this year at all? They're not around anymore. You know why? Because they're no longer relevant, actually. They're no longer relevant because companies before you have Redbox that came out first, which is where you can get your DVDs at the grocery store. And then from there, went on to Netflix and now Amazon. So now you don't even, Blockbuster is totally irrelevant. And at one point, Blockbuster used to think they were on top of the world. They had the business, they had many stores all around the place, but because they didn't keep up with the times, they're no longer around. And this is what I'm presenting to you, because this is not just a funeral practice. This is just a business practice of staying relevant, staying informed of what your customers are looking for, what your customers need. Because like I said, no matter how great you think your service is, it's your customers that really dictate how well you're doing or how well the service you're providing, okay? So when we have a survey, and this is an example of a survey. Josiah, can you pass that around, please? I think I have enough of them. This is one of the surveys that I've done for my own business. I just brought it as a sample for you guys to have here. All right, and this is, we're not going to spend too much time looking at this, but what I want to share with you from this survey is this is something that I can use, one of the tools I can use to gauge how I'm doing amongst my customers and how pleased people are with the service that we provide. And you guys all got that first question I asked correct, where you said it's service that the funeral home provides. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions once you have your forms. Yeah. Oh, you gave them the other ones? Okay. Okay, so you have more of the first ones? Oh, you passed them. Oh. Oh, they passed. Oh. Oh, you passed them. Okay. All right, that's fine. So we had two different surveys. One, I'll make sure you have that one. You can basically see the same thing from both right now. Yeah, that's the last survey you're going to do it then. I can't come to this presentation and not give you a survey of how I did. But so I wanted to give an example of the surveys that I give to my customers. And these are how I use, these are questions that I ask my customers to see how well we're doing to our customers. So my question for you guys right now, considering that you want to know what your customers' experience with your business is, or which funeral home is, what kind of questions can you consider that would be vital for you to ask your families? What questions would you consider would be good to know from your families so that you can gauge how well you're doing?
One question, you get a whole ton of answers, and I ask it every day. How was your mother's service? How was Mr. Brown's service? And then the door is open.
Okay, all right, great. So how was the service? That's a good question. That's a question that can help you. If you know that answer, it's kind of broad, right? But if you know the answer, it can help you to make improvements or get some suggestions of some improvements can be made. What other things would you like to know from your family so that you can know how well of a job you're doing, and not only how well of a job you're doing, but kind of point you in the direction that you should be going? Because, and I'm gonna let you answer that question, but before I even go into that, this question is vital for you to understand because your customers are shaping the direction of your business. All right. Many of us don't know, 2 years from now, 1 year from now, how the funeral industry is going to change. But who does know? The customers know that. So if you can keep in tune with the customers and keep informed of what the customer is feeling, then it's not going to be a surprise to you when the industry changes, where it has changed over the years, right? For all of us. But if you can stay in tune with your customers and stay up to date with what your customers are thinking, then you won't be surprised like how other people, businesses, the Blockbusters, Toys R Us is another example as well too. Anywho. So what question? Yes.
You have questions on here that could be relative to the funeral business.
Yeah. No, these are my questions.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm saying presentation of facilities.
Yes.
How does your business or your facility look when people come?
Okay.
The courtesy and professionalism of staff.
Uh-huh.
The attention to detail.
Okay.
Those are all things that are relevant. At least I find them relevant to my business.
Very good. Okay, good. So those are the ones I use because some of them will cross because, Okay, so the presentation of facility, attention to details regarding requests, courtesy, professionalism of staff. Anything else we could think of as far as questions that can help us to gauge how well we're doing?
What did they think of the pricing? Was the pricing what they were expecting?
Okay.
Below or above?
Was the pricing, that's a good question. Was the pricing what they were expecting? You ask it all the time. Okay. Was the pricing? Okay, because, and this is good, because now if you, how many, do families go around sometimes and shop price? Okay. Okay, so families will go around and shop price. So then isn't this a valid question to ask them so you kind of know what they're looking for? You know, you don't want to just learn after they've left and went to another firm that, you know, they weren't pleased with the price. If you can know this before and you can make adjustments and however it is of what they're looking for, because obviously you can't please everyone with the pricing, but if it's something that you know, then you can address it in some other way and maybe include some other service, however you want to do it. But having the pricing, but having knowledge of the pricing would be something key to understand, right? So this is why these questions are vital, so we can stay relevant, so we can stay informed, so we know what the customer is looking for. This is all important information. So price. Someone else is saying another question that might be, and these questions, hopefully you guys are writing it down or something, or somehow just remembering them, because once you are finished with me, I expect each and every one of you to create a survey for your business and to give it to all you. But go ahead. I'm
We're
just
gonna
playing.
send you it to print. Get it all done.
Okay, someone else have another question that might be relevant that you want to know the answer for from your customers? We said pricing, presentation of facility, the product line, wonderful. Yeah, well, we had courtesy and professionalism of staff. That's good.
Explanation
Yes.
of fees,
Explanation. Okay.
everything.
Okay. All right. So these are all. I mean, the reason why I'm asking you guys these questions now is really it's for a little bit group discussion, but it's really for you to take home for yourself, so you can start to consider what questions are vital for you to ask ask the families. In a little bit, I'm going to talk about different ways to actually present a survey, but I want to go through some more questions with you. So products was definitely a good question to ask. Fees. Anything else we can think of? Is that all? Yes?
Timeliness.
Ti-
Well, since we have to remove a deceased from either a home,
Mhm.
nursing home, or something.
Okay. All right. No, great.
Something.
Yeah. So now, okay, that's great as well too. So now think, even to help you a little bit of how to get these questions together, think of some of the reasons that families have come to you and said, you know, they were displeased with something. And think of a question that you could have asked beforehand so you could have avoided that situation. Think of reasons why they went to another firm, and think of questions along that line. Like we said, price. So think of questions along those lines so you can get a gauge of your customer base. You know, what is important information? Yes?
But as opposed to asking all of these individual questions, the bottom line is when you ask a family, was everything all right? Was there anything wrong, or is there anything that we can improve in? As opposed to asking them, was the price all right? Was the product all right? Was the facility all right? Was the staff all right? If they give you some kind of feedback, then you can elaborate and try and rectify some of the concerns that they might have.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes they lie though.
Many times. they do.
Uh-huh.
And they probably won't tell you if there's a price.
Uh-huh. So okay, if it's anonymous, that's good. And I'm going to respond to you in a second. Yes.
I think you would just say, sometimes they lie.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, they do, but I find, and I make these calls every day to these families. How was your service? It was wonderful.
Mhm.
But let one itty bitty thing be wrong,
Mhm.
and then the floodgates are open, and you don't have to ask anything else, because then they hammer your head in.
But that one little bitty bitty thing is the one little bitty thing they're gonna remember.
Right, and
But
then they
there's
go on
sometimes-
from there,
Do
right.
you remember at that funeral, the vase fell on the floor?
Mhm.
But there are times that things go wrong that are out of your control, like an honor guard not showing up at a cemetery that you ordered. not
But
coming
try
for
to
a prayer.
explain that.
No, I understand, but
Uh-huh.
my point is that, like you
Rita,
just
it's always
said-
your fault.
Yes, I know.
So without asking the little
Specific.
questions, the general question
Yeah.
opens the door.
Yeah, no, the general question, you're right, it does open door, and it could be, instead of asking them every little individual question, you know, we may come up with 10 to 20 different questions. You have to consider the ones that's relevant for you that you want to know the answer to. One of the challenges with just asking a broad question is they may not know, they'll give you a broad answer. You know, so if you want to know about your pricing, by asking them how was the service overall, they may not tell you about your pricing or what they think about your pricing. So you don't, I agree with you, you don't want to be too, you know, have 20 questionnaires, because they're not going to sit there and answer that question, okay? Okay, so we've come up with, yes?
Got one. I have one to develop more business, like I would have a question in there, would you like us to call you to discuss any information on anyone in your family that may need our services?
Mm-hmm.
To try to, because when one spouse dies, they're always gonna come in, a lot of the times, they're gonna come in to make pre-arrangements. So I would have that on there so I could set up a pre-arrangement.
That's good, very good. As far as even, you know, let's say, I was talking about someone that does it, they do follow-up after, you know, after the services, and they do follow-up. But let's say you're considering doing something like that, you can ask your families and get a gauge, you know, if that's something they would find of value, you know, so then you can determine if you're going to move forward with something like that. Okay, so I don't think I have too much time. I'm going to end about 10 to 6, right? Somewhere. Is that good? I mean, 10 to. I've got. I meant to. Okay. Okay, so. Let me go with so this is my survey, and I'm gonna give you just an example from my survey. You don't need to have it in front of you. I'm just saying this is a survey that I've given out to my customers, and one thing, and this is what you want. I think Beulah had addressed this as well. One thing you want from a survey is for them to give you honest answers. You don't want someone to tell you how great you are, because that doesn't help you. You know, I've given out, and I'll give you my own example. I've given these out, and I've gotten people who I know just rushed through it and said, oh, 5, 5, 5, you know, wonderful, 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 wonderful. And when I see that, honestly, it's like, it's garbage to me. Because I know I am wonderful, but I'm not that much. But, you know. Exactly. You know, people will rush through it.
Well, this was a 4, this was a 3.
Yes,
this was a 5.
exactly. So I want people to be truthful, because the only way I can improve my business, or any of us can improve business, is when people tell us what we may do that is not perfect. Okay? So that's the only thing that's what I want to see from the survey. I don't want to hear how wonderful I am. I want to hear what went wrong, or what wasn't so great, or what we can improve upon. And I'll tell you the truth, since 2000 I've been in business, my customers that have done that to me throughout the years have told me, you know, if something goes wrong, they tell me this, and they have been the hardest on me, but they've helped me to grow to the greatest level, because I'm able to make adjustments and fix certain things within my business. So the survey, you definitely want to have honest answers from the survey, okay? Don't want to just hear how great you are. Okay.
Just gonna have paper surveys to give it to our customers, our families, at what time are we giving it to them?
Okay. Well, there's. So, what I'm. The last part that I would discuss. So we discussed about, you know, why do you need to have the survey? What's the benefit of having the survey? Because, you know, it helps you stay in tune with the customers and what they're looking, what they're, how they see your business, and in a way, they're really pointing to the future of your business. So if you don't stay in touch with your customers, then, you know, Blockbuster. But anyway, so if that's one of the benefits of doing a survey, okay? We discussed a couple of questions that you might want to know that are relevant for your business that you can, gain some valuable information from your customers from some of the questions that we ask amongst ourselves here. If you go back and think about it yourself, I'm sure you come up with some other questions as well too. Now, the last part would be, what kind of surveys can you give out to a customer, or how can you survey a customer? That's what you kind of just mentioned on that right now. Now, Beulah had mentioned before that she asks her customers all the time. So you can do a survey, you can survey them by asking them, verbally, if you want to. You can ask them individually after, what time do you ask them, Beulah, or at what point? When they get ready to pay? Okay. After the service. Okay, so you can do it verbally. Some of the pros of doing it verbally is that, they'll be maybe more honest in a verbal questioning or survey. One of the challenges with the verbal, one of the positives of verbal, that it's more personal. You're right there with them, and they'll tell you honestly what it is that they liked or disliked about the service altogether. One of the limiting things about, one of the negatives is that it's limiting. It's only you and that person that's right there at that time. So it's only you getting one response from one family or individual. So verbal survey or asking them is one way to do it. Second way is what you see in front of you of how I did, where you have, piece of paper that you can give to the families at a certain time. We was going to talk about, what time you actually give them the survey. But this is definitely another way you can do it. Have a little card that they can fill out. It can be anonymous. I think anonymity is good. They'll be more truthful when it can be anonymous. Okay? So you have the card, you can give it to them, and they could just, drop it in a box if you have a box somewhere in the funeral home, or, something presentable but nice, so they can just give it back to you and you can get the information from them. So having a written survey like this. And then the third way I would say you can do a survey is where you do it online, where you do like an email. You send an email, because I don't know, many families now obviously have emails, so you can communicate with them through email. So you can do surveys via email. You can send them a follow-up survey afterwards, because you were saying, like, when would you actually give them the survey? Personally, I've gotten into doing email surveys, but I'm doing it a week to 2 weeks after for me, and that's for me. But you can figure out, what is a good time frame for you, because there's another benefit of surveys too, which I didn't even touch on. When you do a survey, the customers feel like they have a voice and that they can say something, towards, it's not like you don't, it's that you care about what they think. It shows that you care about what they think. So when they have a survey in front of them, it's showing them that you care about their experience, and that it wasn't like, okay, well, I got paid for my services and that's it. I will see you the next time or what have you. Okay, so the 3 types of surveys that you can do is whether you do it verbally, and that's going to be very limited because it's just you kind of one-on-one. You can do the written survey, like I said, a postcard, and have some kind of a device or area they can return it. That can be, that's good because that's anonymous, and you can get more than one person at a time, because you can have, you can survey not only the family, you can survey actually people that came to a service as well too. It's just anybody came into the funeral home. Maybe they're there for a viewing service or a wake, and they might have some kind of opinion as well too. And then the last one would be to do it through email or some kind of an online survey. There's a couple of survey companies online. You can do it. Actually, they're free. You don't have to pay anything for them. Like I think one's called Survey Monkey or something like that. Yeah, Survey Monkey. But you can look online for online survey companies and do a survey like that.
Yeah, but how much do you take into account to these external companies? You got, it's not a full survey, but like Yelp or something like that, where usually it's a disgruntled customer that's got a bug up their butt, and they're gonna tongue lash you.
On Yelp, on Google, okay, and that's.
How much of that do you take with a grain of salt,
Okay, so I have an answer for that.
I would try to find something.
No, well, honestly, you can make a response. you can respond. You can respond, and that lets someone that's reading those reviews know that you at least responded. Because what happens, those Google or Yelp or even Facebook, those aren't necessarily really for you to gather, because you're not asking a question. They're just voicing their displeasure, or they're saying something that was might have happened that they wasn't pleased with. But I would like to see how you can flip that around, and when someone has a positive experience, then you encourage them to give you a positive review on Yelp or on Google. Because the only thing that you can combat a negative review on Yelp or Google, because you can't take it off, right? The only thing you can combat something negative is by having much more things that's positive, okay? Just like, let's say Amazon. When I go on Amazon, whenever I'm buying something, I look at the reviews of what other people say about a product, okay? And I look at what people say is good, and I look at a couple of what people say is bad, because every product, they're going to have plus and minuses. So even though somebody has a negative review of a product, that doesn't stop me from buying it if I see that there's 10 other reviews that are positive, okay? So the only way that you can do something with a negative review on Yelp or Google is to solicit to get good reviews and let people to positively review you on those same platforms as well, too, and respond to the negative ones, yeah.
To get back to Jim's point, and what you're saying, the problem with the online reviews is
Mhm.
a lot of times, at least I found this for us specifically, people that will say something negative were not involved in the arrangement, in the funeral. They had no idea
Mhm.
what was agreed upon, what was discussed, but now they're chiming in because they think that it should have been X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, we took down our Facebook reviews completely because of that. Because we'd get people chiming in that had nothing to do with anything, but they thought it should have been whatever. But
Yeah.
that's not what was agreed upon.
Yeah.
So I have an issue with, but I think you're right. Like me personally, I don't write online reviews because the times I think about it, it's usually negative, and because I'm a business owner, I try not to do that. But I should write positive. Because if I, like here, if I have a nice experience, why not go and write a positive experience? But
Yeah.
I just never take the time to do that, which is wrong.
Yeah.
Most people take the time to do it for a negative reason, and it's not necessarily fair
Yeah.
or right.
See, with Facebook, you can control, like you said, you took down the reviews for Facebook, but you can't take down, let's say,
No,
a Google review. So, one way with Facebook is take it down, but with Google, you can't do that. So the only way you can do it is, like I said, you respond to it, but then you have to actively look to get some positive reviews, because, for one negative review, you want to get, many more positive reviews, because, we're not all perfect. I mean, to be honest. So there's some people's gonna have a negative experience, but then we want to make sure there's a lot more positive experiences, and then that way, when someone's seeing a review, they're still gonna come to you for business. Yeah.
I've noticed that, because I've done both reviews. I've sent out through Yodel, like I was doing Yodel advertising for a while, and they automatically send an email review, not review, survey.
Okay.
So I wasn't getting any of them back, which I noticed myself, if Verizon or someone contacts me after I make a purchase and they send me an email saying, take 5 minutes to do the survey, I delete it. Like, I just can't be bothered sometimes. But now I send out these type of surveys after every funeral, and
Oh,
I
okay.
get them all back.
Oh, that's great.
Always get them back.
That's good.
Always get
Yeah, because you're giving them a voice.
So you would think it would be the other way around,
Mhm.
but reviews are different than surveys, because
Yeah.
a review is like you're voluntarily doing it,
Yeah.
but I'm noticing that I get the old school mail back.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Downtime at 7-Elevens.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. She was still. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. You still.
So I was saying that.
You get those
these are
back.
like the old fashioned, like
Yeah.
mail-in, I get these,
Uh-huh.
or I get the email surveys back.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like the Google and Facebook reviews, the only time, well, for me and I think most people, that they've really gone there if they've had a really, really, really great experience or a super terrible experience. So there's no in between with that. So you're gonna and more often than not, if you have like with us, if they have a really great experience, they don't always take the time to go out online and to do it. But if they have a terrible experience, then they're more apt to go out and kind of let everyone else know they had a terrible experience. So you have to, but those reviews were surveys. So this allows them to have a voice and to give you that information. That's
Yeah. How often do you go over the results of the survey with your staff?
That's a good question. Yeah. Yes. He said, how often do you go over the results with your?
Let me piggyback on that.
Okay, go ahead.
I know you're believing surveys because we got them. So you got them back. How often do you review them with your staff, and have you implemented any changes based on your survey?
Yes. So I have two. This survey is one you've seen before. I have it in my office so that people, when they come in, they can fill out and they can drop it in the box. But they also have given out to funeral homes as well, too. I know, like she says, Cotton has gotten the survey because
Give me one. Why?
there was a time, it was last year that we sent it out to everybody. And at that time, we had a real influx of people that had given us the reviews back. So at that point, it was probably within like 2 weeks or so that we got them all back, because we really encouraged people to give back to us. And then we went over all the results with each one of our staff. So they have individual clients. So I took the clients for such and such and got their reviews back, and I went over with that person there, and then that was it. So that was last year we did that. The one that we leave just for people to fill out, unless we put some kind of a quote-unquote bait to it, they don't necessarily do it, because like we said before, unless they had a really great experience or really terrible experience, they haven't been filling it out just and dropping it in a box. And our situation is a little bit different, because we have more funeral homes that are coming to our location, just picking up or dropping off. And maybe sometimes the driver, so it's not necessarily people like yourself or people that would really have something positive, constructively to say to us. So, okay. Yeah.
So I do agree with you from my own firsthand experience. There is definitely value in doing these surveys with your families, however you decide to do it, paper, phone calls, whatever. But the key thing is, for all of us, is to react based upon the answers to the survey questions.
Yes.
Just don't get them
And then toss them out there. Yeah.
because you defeated your purpose.
Yeah. So in your situation as well too, so I brought some down to the funeral home, so I can, because I don't get to speak to everyone on whichever level they are, but I gave them out to different people so that I can get a response from everyone. So that was how that worked. All right. Yes.
Just last night, I received information at aftercare.com has a new service on my website that they will do the surveys and send out 3 or 4 cards in a year, and it's $20 per person that you send it to. But when you look on their website, all the way on the bottom, they actually have where it says free survey. And I actually did it, and you're actually able to, it's free, you can send it out as many times, and you just put in the deceased's name, and the letter comes, Islamic Burial Services, thank you for your service, and you can modify the questions if you like, and it has everything listed there. And I sent it to myself first. Then I asked them, I called them and asked them, what do you do with the telephone number? Do you, use them or anything? And they do not, and it is wonderful. Aftercare.com, my new BFF.
Okay. All right.
That's who sends my service.
Is that right? Amazing.
Okay. So
No, with my website.
I'm about to finish this, right?
was with Confession.
All right. So I think that's my time right now. I'm good. Right? Time is 5:02. Okay. So I want to make sure you. I do have a survey. I think some of you guys, you might have had this already. This is actually a survey. You can give them here. So I couldn't come, as I said before, and talk about surveys and then not have a survey for you to see, what I spoke about, if it was relevant, if it was how I did. So this is for you guys to fill out. This actually will be also your attendance for this session. Yes, this is not anonymous, because this is also, see, this is for your attendance for this course as well too, for your credit.
What's your name?
Just put your name. No, just yeah.
This one?
That one. There you go. All right. There you go. It only has 5 questions. Yes.
Does the presentation start on time?
No.
I was in here.
Is the presenter gonna buy a round of drinks?
Sure. All right. So I will use this survey to, evaluate how I did, and also to make adjustments, make changes, because, looking to improve upon. You can stop. Stop.
That's the grand finale then?
That is the grand finale. You end with a survey.
Can I just ask you one question?
Sure.
Do you think it's a good idea to hinge, if you provide a service, and you have a decent amount of employees, do you think it's a good idea to hinge the surveys towards the salary of the employees, or promotion of the employees, or anything like that?